fuiste fiel, tu gracia me levantó, me basta tu amor, Dios eterno, tu luz por siempre brillará y tu gloria incomparable sin final. Señor, tu voluntad permanecerá, en ti me quiero perder en adoración, Dios eterno, tu luz por siempre brillará, de tu gloria incomparable sin final. De mi corazón te doy el control, consume todo mi interior, Dios.
The first thing that struck me in Bethel about the people was how firm they were with me. How they could speak to me calmly and rationally, but in a firm way. I remember a guy who's a good friend of mine now, Dave Cox. He's been in Bethel for 5 years, now he's married. Sort of the second day I was here, I remember giving him a load of attitude. He introduced himself to me, and I asked him how long he'd been in Bethel. He said 4 years. And I said to him, well, you know, what's that all about? 4 years in Bethel. I said, you need to go out and get yourself a life and all that. And his reaction was cool as a cucumber. He said to me, well, you know, you may as well go, mate, if that's your attitude. You know, you may as well not be here. And but he said it without getting angry or anything. And that just threw me, because I'd never had anyone speak to me in that sort of way, firmly, but without being really angry, without being in a confrontational situation, you know, like where we're basically about to have a rollabout on the floor. And he was doing it, and and that's what people like. They were firm, and it really threw me. But they were loving as well, don't get me wrong, it was done in love, and it was something I've never experienced, you know what I mean? It was, people were caring and kind, but not in a sort of mamby-pamby, pat on the head, condescending way. They were in a sort of way that I'd never experienced, in a godly way, you know, and that's what struck me, just to hold, it was a culture shock.
I think all of us are the same, whether we're a drug addict or whatever we are. We have this big need for love, you know. And when you come into Bethel, it is the first thing you notice. And most of the addicts, when they give a testimony, say, what struck me was the love. You know, people loved me. People that normally on the street would stick a knife to my neck and take my drugs or take my money, loved me. And they served me, you know. And they, I don't know, they gave me things and they didn't expect anything in return. And that spoke volumes to me. And through that, I learned, you know, they've changed. I want to be like that. You know, how did they change? And then they begin to question, and God begins to reveal himself to them. And that's what I've seen over and over and over again. I've seen miracles. Miracles.
The UK has become a missionary sending place, not just a rehab.
It's always been our vision
to not only help people, but eventually to transmit the missionary heart that we have to them, so that they can go out and likewise be examples and help other people. So we're being successful at that. I meant to do a rough count today, didn't. We've probably sent out a few dozen missionaries now, most of them short term, some of them longer term, and that's because they have taken on the responsibility, the vision, a sense of calling, and eventually they want to go out and help people just as they've been helped. So that is our continued goal, is not only to reach throughout the UK, but into whatever other countries we can support Bethel's growth.
What's the process?
We want to church plant. We want to turn men and women into men and women of God. But God has given us, marginalized people, drug addicts, alcoholics, homeless, immigrants, single mothers. And so we're really looking for souls who respond to the gospel. Already Bethel's gone way beyond drug addicts. Our churches are attracting professional people, middle class people, wealthy people, normal working class, middle class people. In the oldest, most mature church, we have 200 in the community in Madrid, but over 600 people in the church. So we've gone way beyond the rehab community. It's been a catalyst to start a church in gospel-resistant Europe. And it's with the income-producing activities, we've been able to finance the establishing of churches in the inner cities of Europe and the world. It's very expensive to do that. And so our rehab program has a two-edged sword, reaches the marginalized, and also helps finance church planting.